Well,
Guys ready?
you guys want an opening statement?
Yeah.
No,
Tell us what you had for lunch today.
Nothing
I'll
yet.
ask about a debate with Steve. Do you go into the Pac-12 tournament, think there's any chance you could get into the Portland Regional if you were to win the Pac-12 tournament?
Any time I spend thinking about that is wasted. I can't control that. We can just, can try to win the thing and see what happens.
But do you think there's a chance you could, if you do well in the Pac-12,
No
you could
idea.
move up seeding? I don't know what you thought,
sure.
what you thought
Sure.
yesterday. Did you feel like 3 was pretty fair for what you've done so far, or did you?
I mean, I can't control that. I think if we were to win this tournament, that means we have three more wins, 2 against top 6 or 7 RPI teams. It would probably be if the seeds hold, which, I mean, I think we have to be a 2 seed at that point.
Yeah. So how do you feel coming out, with a week to get ready for this thing coming out of Arizona?
I'm excited for it. I'm excited for the challenge. I feel like this conference has just made everybody so tough. You're battle tested. You've been in every kind of game to this point. Our schedule, non-conference, you add that to the regular season. We've been in close games. We've been in games where we've run away. We've been in games where we've had to battle from behind. We've won more than we've lost, but we've lost a couple to learn from. And so then you get into one and done situations like this, which is what it's all about. It's fun. I love our experience that we can draw from. I think the last 3 weeks in particular, or 2 weeks, I should say. 3 weeks. The last 3 weeks in particular have really tested us in a way that's prepared us. They've felt like postseason games. All of them have. And so 4 of our last 5 games have come down to the final minute, and we won all 4 of those, by making plays on both ends of the floor. And so I feel like we've developed to a point where we've got such a strong foundation. Great things can happen with this team. And so now it's just, doing what we can and playing great basketball.
Does last year come up at all? The tournament last year, 1-0.
Pac-12 tournament?
Yeah.
I've not seen the team yet since we got off the plane the other night, or got off the bus the other night. So I think the lesson last year, I don't know what the lesson was. I mean, last year's Pac-12 tournament set the stage for the NCAA tournament. And so I don't think we need another lesson like that, and so that was last year's team. This team is just, we've got 3 games, hopefully this week. We've got Utah or Washington. That's all we're talking about.
What do you think the atmosphere will be like in Vegas? And what did you think whenever they said Seattle would no longer be the venue?
It was, I did not expect that personally. I thought, the conference was pretty happy. I didn't realize, the arena was going under a renovation either. I didn't know that. So when I'd heard that, I'm like, it makes sense, that we're going to be displaced for a year or 2. Las Vegas makes sense because of the men are already down there, and so for the conference to keep both in the same spot. I'm anxious to find out, what it's going to be like. I have no idea. I wasn't able to attend the men's tournament, so I haven't been, to their event when it was in the Grand Garden Arena, and so I'm excited just to see what it's like. New venue, that's fun. And it sounds like people are going to travel pretty well down there, and so kind of anxious just to see how it goes.
And you've taken teams to Vegas before in like non-conference, so you kind of know the.
Yeah, for years.
Yeah.
For years. Probably 5 times. I've taken my team to a tournament in Vegas over the years. A couple years ago at T-Mobile, where the men are now, which was great. We won that tournament, 3 games in 3 days. So the last time we were there, it was good. I forgot about that. So for us as coaches, you just hope everything's logistically conducive to success. And so Seattle was such a, it was almost like home. Because we knew exactly where we practiced, we knew exactly where the hotel was, we knew, you just had a routine down over the years. Now this is new, new hotel, new bus system, new everything, and so navigating that is, a form of adversity, I guess, but that's great, so anxious to figure it out.
You mentioned that, the conference is maybe as best as it's ever been. Now the game planning, potentially three teams in 3 days if you make it all the way. Just talk about with how deep the conference is to the bottom, what kind of challenges there'll be in those 3 days.
Yeah, I think the depth of the conference is better. I think the top of the conference has been really good for a long time, and so we've played in the championship game 3 times, and so we've been through this. There wasn't a year where it was like, oh, this was easy. Right. I mean, this is the toughest week of the year, to be honest, for a staff to be able to, if you get to that 3rd game, I mean, you're running on fumes, going into that, and especially if you play the late game and then have to play, earlier on less rest, which was the case actually a couple years ago when we were the 1 seed. They flipped the bracket on us because of Washington, which gave us less rest as the 1. And so I don't think there's any difference. We went up to Vancouver. We played in a tournament this year, 3 games in 3 days. And the last, was South Carolina and then Notre Dame. And so we've been in this exact situation. I thought our staff and our team handled that very well. Played well against Notre Dame. Just didn't know how to finish yet at that point of the year. And so this will hopefully be very similar. I thought we played well then. Let's do the same.
What about playing at 8:30? Because you'll play the first 2 games if you get there. That time you've done that before. Does that allow you a different way of implementing what you want to do? Go home late, figure everything out, and have more time with the team the next day, or?
Yeah, we get to sleep in. No, we can't worry about that stuff. I mean, it's just the schedule is what it is. You still have the same time to prep, the same time. It's just different times of the day. And so I would prefer personally a later game than an earlier game. It doesn't matter though, but that's kind of what I like personally. So I'm happy with it, but I don't think it matters. I mean, it can't matter. And so if we're playing at 11, we better be ready to go. 8:30, you better be ready to go. So either way, we got a job to do. And so the timing and that thing, we can't worry about that. That's outside influence. Can't control it.
What about Mick and Destiny, all Pac-12? Just what they've done for you guys this year. I know you have so many talented players and stuff, and so it's nice. How nice is to see both those guys, both those girls, get recognized.
It's great. I mean, absolutely awesome. I think this team has so many different weapons that have stepped up at different times that it's one of those years where anybody could get any. I mean, a lot of people could have awards. So Mick has been whatever this team's needed all year long, from the beginning, and just been a stable force for us in practice, off the court, on the court. Made huge plays for us in big games. Obviously warranted. Destiny's led us in scoring, and it's been a game breaker for us. She's got the ability just to help us separate quickly, just explosive. And now I think even the coaches probably have seen her efficiency improve, her defense improve throughout this as she's gotten accustomed to what we do. So I think both very deserving and happy for them. They've had great years.
Cool. Easy.